However, they were unaware that you were the one who was holding the game. They did not lose the game. As of right now, the controller has selected one, played, and they felt that you were nothing more than background noise, something that they could have done otherwise. They smirked in your face while plotting your downfall, so you should dismiss their mock manipulation. I was under the impression that you were just another lost person stumbling around in the dark. But what they didn't know was something that they could never realize, is that the cosmos had its hands on you the entire time, and they weren't fighting you, rather they were struggling with the force. Somebody made the decision to choose you, and guess what? You don't battle the tide and expect to stand still. Before we go any further, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Despite the fact that this message was intended for you, there are thousands of other people who are also chosen and who need to hear it every time you engage you. Tell YouTube to make this reality more widely known so that you can assist other people who are fighting in silence. Do not scroll down if you feel that this speaks to your spirit. Instead, rise up and find their fire. Is it your sign? Let's get ahead of the game. They feel like they've been played, and it's not because of you. Not because you were seeking retribution, but rather because your very existence caused you to clap back. The flaws in their masks were exposed, and you remained silent until the light vanished. Whenever it was required, and when you came back, you were 10 levels ahead of what they thought you were. They assumed you had given up because you were evolving and getting aligned. Disappeared, you were evolving. See, being selected does not come with confetti, rather it comes with bewilderment for those who are chosen. Whoever they look down on, since it seems inconceivable that they would go around as if they owned the ground. The one that they counted out ends up calling the plays, and you were never weak. Exactly how does that happen? They have been underappreciated, and now they are experiencing panic, but they are not showing it overtly. Despite the fact that they are smiling, they are disintegrating behind those screens and under those filters. The growth you experience is akin to their karma, and your silence reverberates more loudly than their shade. The cosmos did not make a mistake when it chose you. You not only outshone them, but you also outshone them. Picked you. It saw the fire that they attempted to extinguish. It saw the heart that they attempted to extinguish. It was able to see the vision that they were attempting to blur, but it still said that kind of thing to you. No authorization is required for anointing. It does not require validation, and it never requires validation. Comes to make other people feel at ease. They experience a sense of being played because the game was never played. It was you who turned out to be the unexpected twist in the story that they had no idea was coming. A serene presence that is accompanied by turbulence in your bones. They feel as though they are being played because they saw your generosity for weakness, your remoteness for defeat, and your kindness for weakness. They are now unable to confront you since your radiance is visible, and they have chosen silence as a form of submission. Have you ever noticed how your presence makes some of the things that they sought to bury you possible? When people twitch, it is not because they are paranoid. Rather, it is because their shadow is reacting to your light. Even if you have to speak, your energy speaks for you and for those who attempted to drain you of it. They are still thirsty. They are still surrounding, and they are still bewildered about how you keep rising. Never again will you have doubts about yourself, and never again will you let their loudness to drown you out. You are selected, the weight strikes you differently, and the loneliness is different. Out of your knowledge strikes deeper, but so does the victory, so does the clarity. and so does the tranquility that results from it. Includes the realization that you have never been going alone and that the universe has been waiting for you to quit dimming your light. Due to the fact that you were never a part of their group, they feel as though they have been chosen. Plan, but you are the blueprint that you should keep. Your stillness is holy, your light is brilliant, and your climb has already begun. Going. Your silence is sacred. This message is written so that if it is already hitting something deep inside you, you don't need to read it. This is not simply another video. It is a signal that you should watch. Let's just lock in. Please leave the number 77 in the comments section if you are aware of the transmission for the real ones. They were trying to play themselves in order to play you with the energy that they were trying to drain. You're going to flip it, so don't give up too soon. If you're actually picked, you'll feel like you've been chosen. The want to remain engrossed until the very last word, since each and every second is a reflection of the previous one. Now that we have your power, let's go into it step by step. The first stage is that you believe they did not. You can't outplay them now that they're scrambling all over the place. Cosmos, and you certainly cannot outsmart its selected, so pay attention to what they have to say. They regarded your stillness for a sign of weakness and misjudged you since they observed there was no sound. They mistook your composure for complacency, but what they failed to recognize was the force that was present. Even though they were unaware of its existence, the cosmos does not know that there is an invisible power pulling the strings behind your immobility. All you have to do is pick anyone, and they are going to experience the full force of what occurs when you attempt to play with the force that if you choose you are not only traveling through life, you are moving life. The fact that they were not simply confronted with a person when they came for you was never grasped by them. When they were confronted with the pull of something considerably larger, something that they were unable to when the universe is in a position to assist you, it is not a coincidence. It is a sign that you are in control, a shift of cosmic proportions, and now they are coming to terms with the error they made when they thought when you were selected, the game was different than you had anticipated. You were just another easy victim. Well, they are feeling it now, and they are scrambling because they didn't feel it before. They don't feel it. Have an understanding of how far your roots run and how much power you were hiding under that calm. On the surface, they attempted to confront you, but in truth, they were challenging you didn't have to yell or cry to the very forces who had already decided that you were untouchable. Raise your fists, for all they cared about was your existence, and they couldn't take that from you. They believed that you were adhering to their guidelines, but the entire while that you were rewriting the game, they were completely unaware of who they were, coping with, and now the consequences are following them around and catching up with them in every move they make. This is a desperate attempt because they did not believe that they were battling the system that they believed they were fighting. It was you and that chosen one who made the mistake. You have doubts about yourself, you second-guess yourself. Guess your light, you find yourself questioning the way forward, but you will never do that again while you were chosen. The cosmos did not abandon you to roam aimlessly. Rather, it placed you in the appropriate position. They were able to see you at every single step of the way with pinpoint accuracy. Stillness, and that is just how they misperceived you. They believed that your silence was a sign of your weakness, but it was also your strength. You didn't have to make a fuss because you were already successful. With each and every step you took and every action you did not take, you are already shaping the world. Carry out every action that caused them to look back over their shoulder, and now they are wondering how they could have allowed someone like you to fall between the cracks and how they could have done it. They are so naive that they fail to comprehend how they might possibly outwit the system that they were so, as they were preoccupied with the idea that they were in charge of the story, they failed to notice the larger picture. They were blind to the fact that they were really pawns in a game that was always being played. The odds are stacked in your favor, and they are unable to stop the momentum that you have already built up. Your strength lies in the fact that they are unable to avoid the wave that is about to capsize on their heads in a subtle manner, and they were unaware of the fact that they believed they could outshine you with their noise, their arrogance, and their distractions. But the strength lies not in you, but in them. What is loud is in what is quiet, is in what can get through their defenses. What is loud is in what is silent, oblivious to their knowledge, and that is precisely what you have done. You have taken advantage of them. The unassuming road that remained hidden from their view as they carried out all of their maneuvers under the impression that they had the upper hand, they failed to see it coming, and now they are forced to, if you underestimate your capabilities, you will have to live with the consequent repercussions. Despite the fact that it is too late to go back at this point, I would like to make it clear why they are. Not only are you scurrying right now because you have outsmarted them, but it is also because they have. I had no idea that when the universe chose you, it doesn't just give you a list of possibilities. It gives you a weapon, and you have been using that weapon in ways that they have not been able to predict. Things that you never even knew were possible when you realize the power that you have, when you be conscious of the fact that every action you perform has been crafted by forces that are more powerful than them. I am able to realize that you should stop having doubts about yourself, stop questioning your value, and stop. The answer to the question of whether or not you are actually as powerful as they fear you to be is that you are also afraid of it, and they are frantically trying to catch up to you in order to take advantage of it. However, it is already too late to pull you down into their chaotic realm and regain control of the situation. Once you were selected, you were in alignment with a power that they could never reach, and you were able to, as a result of their arrogance, they are currently suffering the price. Thus, the chosen one should do not allow their desperation to disturb you. However, misunderstanding may cause you to question your own light. You are the calm storm that they did not anticipate coming, and you are the one who walks through your presence. They were able to avoid getting burned by fire, and now they will have to live with the reality that they were never in charge, and that you were always in charge. Had you been number 2, you were expected to remain seated, but instead now that they have developed, they are shaken. So select one reinvention to listen to. Is your superpower not something you asked for, but something you had to learn in order to become proficient in? In order to survive, they believed that destroying you would be the end. They believed that one failure would quiet you. One betrayal would silence you, would break you apart, and a single defeat would wipe out your motivation. But every time life attempted to, you should fold the darn map and redo the path that they don't comprehend. You should fold the map. In terms of what it means to be selected, they believe that it comes with privilege applause, certain what they don't see is the anguish you had to turn into, yet they are protected by a miraculous protection bubble. Fuel the nights that you sat in silence, putting together the pieces of yourself that you had broken. You did not simply recover from what you had lost, rather you rebuilt better and remade yourself, independently, without anyone applauding, without anyone observing, and without anyone lending you a freaking hand. And this is precisely why they feel like they are being played, The real ones don't make their announcements. You didn't just survive, this is a return. They just show up stronger, colder, and sharper than before. You used it for every betrayal, every failure, and every tear that it became. The fall, you used it. Substance that you will use for your subsequent form is what differentiates you from them. They react to it. As you exert pressure, you transform into pressure, and you shed different forms of yourself like dead skin. They continue to make an effort to come for the one that is more dangerous, more clear, and more aligned. The old you, the one they believed they had broken, but that version of you has been buried by the new you. In spite of the fact that they are still playing a game with a ghost, which is a version of the game, they are off balance since they do not even recognize it. A version of you that does not exist anymore. And now they are being plagued by the speed with which you, as you progressed, you became untraceable. One day you were down and the next day you were up. Invulnerable, one moment they are smiling and the next instant they are observing your movements or movements. Observing you in silence as if you were a puzzle that they were unable to solve and had never anticipated. As a result of your reinvention, they only intended for you to fail, but you took advantage of their confusion. Each and every burn became a part of your armor, and each and every loss served as a template for your next breakthrough. They are unable to keep up with you since you appear to be moving like water. Construct traps for the person you were the day before, and you will seem differently the day after. Your advantage is because you don't remain unchanged. You are a form shifter. Sharper and smarter is your edge. They are so desperate to keep an image of themselves that they cling to older versions of themselves. Picture yourself letting go of everything that isn't serving your next step and letting go of everything else. Level, and here's the part that they definitely won't mention out loud. Your capacity to remake themselves causes them to feel uneasy on a deep level. They despise the way you are constantly changing, not because it is artificial, but because it is. They cling to you in order to soothe you, since it is true that they feel trapped while you feel free. As you pursue growth, they are frightened by the difference, and they want to categorize you and label you. If they are able to define you, they will be able to limit you, but you are the one who defines you. Destroying their packaging, destroying their labels, erasing their descriptions, and breaking their boxes. Don't ever forget what they tried to convince you of, and write your own name in stone. Felt the failures you experienced were indications that you were not good enough, that the seclusion indicated that you were abandoned, and that your failures indicated that you were weak. But in reality, those failures were preparations for success. Reinventing the idea that time spent alone was a holy opportunity for recalibrating those who fall short of the pressure required to produce the diamond for which they were not prepared, because they did not anticipate your quiet to be a sign of perseverance. They did not bank on your ability to, because they believed you were unable to move forward. When you were shedding, they believed you were stuck, were lost while you were loading, and now they are observing your progression, and when they finally realized it, it was too late. They were only prepared to battle the person you used to be. This version, they do not have a strategy for this version on account of the fact that this version is you. Incomprehensible, this you is inaccessible, this you is incomprehensible. It's not a trend for you. Aligned reinvention is something that's in your blood. It's how you do things. Breathe, they take hits, and collapse, you take hits, and transform, you are the storm. Breathe, they take hits and collapse. They believed that it was a cloud, that it was smoke, that it was a force, and whatever else they thought it was silence. and you continued to have doubts about yourself, you continued to question your worth, your purpose, and your destiny, and you continued to search inward. Some days you look in the mirror and forget the truth about who you are. Therefore, let this to be a reminder. This is a wake-up call, not just to them, but also to you. You must not be so bold as to minimize your importance. You have the audacity to limit yourself because they are unable to accommodate your expansion. You have not come this far simply to survive, you have come to flourish. In spite of the fact that you were initially refused access to the rooms, you eventually came to own them. The reason they feel this way is because of exactly what is happening right now, your reinvention. Despite the fact that they spent a lot of time trying to keep you down, they failed to remember to apply pressure. Activates the ones that have been picked, so continue to change, continue to shed, and continue to change. They should be able to whisper to you, watch you, and wonder how you manage to keep your level up. Getting back up because you were never just getting back up. Rather, you were becoming more and more without a doubt. You are not the same. You are better. You are colder. You are clearer. And you are unstoppable. You have finished requesting understanding. You do not owe them closure. You are the one who provided it. This is what it means to be selected. You are the blueprint without which they are unable to move on. The threat that they did not anticipate coming was not followed by the upgrade that they did not download. Despite the fact that they were not prepared, they feel as though they have been picked because you were not seen. Due to the fact that you were never intended to remain broken, you were intended to construct the new you right in front of their eyes. You should leave them behind in order to figure out what just occurred at number 3, which you did not miss. Their moment, you were the moment, and they are only now coming to terms with it. Its force is not always extremely loud. There are moments when it waits quietly, and when it moves, it is deafening. They believed that your silence indicated that you were asleep, and they was under the impression that your immobility signified that you were sleeping, meant to give up, but what they failed to recognize was that you were the one who was mastering the most, the risky technique of them all timing each other, while they were frantically trying to get attention and wanting validation. When you were examining the board, you let them to play checkers while you were studying. In a chess game, you planned out 10 moves ahead, and now when you finally move, they are waiting for you. Experiencing a sense of being cheated since they were unaware that the game had begun, timing is the method that they have never received training because they confuse loudness with power. They act first and ponder later on, but you gain patience through suffering. You developed a strategy via suffering, and the discipline that you gained during the long nights when everything in you wanted to strike, but you held your fire because you knew the timing was right. You were wrong. You were aware that true strength does not hurry. Rather, it carefully calculates and waits. The chosen are sharpened, and they do not simply act. Rather, they wait with intention every second of your life. When you were charging your weapon and aligning your stance, delay was never a sign of weakness. Energy that was waiting for the precise time when the mask would fall off, when the house of deception. When you struck, the cards would tilt, and when you did strike, it would not be loud. It would not be loud. They referred to you as slow, and it is a mess that is really heartbreaking. They chuckled at your pauses, not realizing that you were anxiously awaiting the next thing to happen. When the stars align, because when you are chosen, the universe does not simply hand you over to you. You a sword, it instills in you the knowledge of when to swing it, and now they are monitoring everything. In light of the fact that your time has just arrived and their time has just passed, They began to shake. You can see that fools act too quickly. They rush in, driven by their egos and their panic. Although you have mastered the discipline of moderation, you have not made the mistake of mistaking movement for development. You were well aware that if you jumped too soon, it would cost you the larger win that you had seen in faith. You allowed them to remain silent while they revealed themselves and while they overplayed their hand with you. Them to go berserk, believing that they had the upper hand, and now they are cornered and on the defensive. Your voice has not even been raised. You have kept your motions close, and you have allowed them to do so. You let them laugh and you let them celebrate, even though you thought you had no other options. All the while you were sitting in the shadows, watching and waiting to realize that's what happened early. Knowledge of not just how to strike, but also when and where to strike is the mark of a real chosen one. It is precisely this that terrifies them now, because you are not just powerful, but also unpredictable. They have no way of knowing when you will move, and when you do, it's always a surprise. Do you ever find yourself wondering why people do not feel comfortable around you, even when you are quite quiet? This is due to the fact that genuine force carries weight in silence, thus you do not need to create any noise. It is not necessary for you to demonstrate your energy in order for people to identify with your presence. Speaking first, you may enter a room without making a single sound and still be able to influence the mood, atmosphere, and the reason for this is that they have a deep-seated awareness of what you are capable of. They simply do not know when it will arrive, which presents you with a potentially risky time situation. There was a weapon in your arsenal that they never saw, but they prepared for an attack in any case. Despite the weight, they are unable to sit still with themselves, let alone anticipate someone who is capable of doing so. Yet, you manage to do so. Take into account the fact that the most effective action is often the one that you choose not to make. They are frantically trying to change everything until it is time, until it hurts, until it changes everything. Presently, because your opportunity has arrived and they are completely unaware of how it managed to sneak up on them. At that precise moment, it does not inquire about permission. Rather, it causes the system to crash. Party with precision and makes all that came before it look like a farce. They feel as though they are being misled because they are being fooled. You were under the impression that you were passive, but patience is a talent that predators possess. Remain silent as you pursued your objective, waited for the precise moment of vulnerability, and now that you discovered it, you strike with an accuracy that they are unable to match. And while they scream, you attack. And continue to maintain your composure, because this is precisely what you had planned for. Let's tell you, let there be no confusion. You are not here because you moved quickly. Rather, you are here because you moved. The reason being that you trusted your timing even when it hurt, even when it appeared to be wrong. Like if you were losing, even though you had nothing to show for it other than faith, which is what faith is. Your secret weapon, which is silence, which is your sword that has been sharpened. So if you are having doubts, now don't you forget that you are not late, you are not behind, and you are exactly where you should be. It is about to hit them all at once. And everything you have been keeping back is about to hit them all at once. The world is finally going to be here, catching up to the wave that you have been avoiding, and when it crashes, you should not let it crash. They got their opportunity, and they made the most of it. Don't blink, don't flinch, and don't apologize. Cards in their hand, and now it is yours, because the one that was picked was the one who exposed their hand. Moves precisely when it should, no one sees it coming, but everyone feels it coming in. The fourth thing is that they attempted to break you, but you stayed unmoved because of your faith, constructed you in a different way. They hurled storms at you in the hope that you might, while you were drowning, you were unaware that you were the anchor that was keeping the ocean in place, attempted to shake you with everything from the betrayals to the losses to the falsehoods, accusations, the seasons of silence. They threw everything at you like it was going to be a surprise, sufficient to bring you down, and perhaps it almost did. Perhaps there were nights when you experienced it. Everything, including your direction, your purpose, and your strength, was called into doubt, but you did not give up. Because the one card you've always held is the one that you've always held, you didn't stay broken apart. Is your faith something that they could never hope to touch? Faith is not merely believing, it is not feeble. Faith is the unmovable core that you have within you that has protected you from giving up hope or empty affirmations. Firm despite the fact that everything around you was falling apart, it is the reason you are still standing. This is the reason why they feel that they have been played right. Breathing is still rising and risky as a result of the fact that they threw storms at you expecting pandemonium, but you managed to keep your cool, you maintained your concentration, and you did not move. They are perplexed as to why you are still present. The fact that you continue to show up, continue to level up, and continue to shine through everything to which you have been subjected, and the reason for this is that your foundation was not built on people, it was not founded on how much praise you received, nor was it built on what could be taken away from you. Your religion served as your foundation, and the kind of strength that you possess is unrivaled. As one, there were times when it appeared as though you had lost everything during those times, to the point where even the ground beneath your feet didn't feel real, but there was some unseen force at work. There was a force that prevented you from collapsing, and that force couldn't have been luck or chance. Was the unwavering faith in something that was more significant than the circumstances around them, the awareness that even if the fact that you did not notice the path, which was still present, is what differentiates you from her. When things come apart, they fold from them, and when you focus on them, they panic, and you anchor them. They yell at you to remain still, and the silence drives them mad since you weren't standing still. Always powerful, you weren't always this certain, but life taught you and life drove you to be this way. You to develop into this as they made fun of your failures and questioned your ability to remain silent. You were undergoing a process of being purified. Your faith was not given to you, rather it was forged in fire. I discovered it in the wee hours of the morning, in the peacefulness that followed a betrayal, in the alone. Walking by yourself, which is why it is unshakable, because it cost you a lot of money. Nothing can stop you from achieving your goals now that you have established yourself on that foundation. There are people that try to move you, gossip behind your back, try to block your road, and try to ruin your life. You don't even blink because you are aware of how this situation will ultimately play out. Your name and you, your identity, which is faith, not hope and not fantasy, knowing that you are familiar with the world, you are aware that there is a purpose in your suffering and a fire in your footsteps. It is not the intention of those who brought you this far to abandon you, and the fact that they witness you standing strong in the midst of chaos is enough to shake them to their core. Your calmness serves as a reminder of how delicate they are, and peace is a reflection of their volatility. Their sense of control is actually quite strong, and your trust is so strong that it blazes like a torch, can't turn away from, because deep down they are aware that they would never be able to endure what you have to offer. Done. And much more profoundly, they are aware that they attempted to shatter you, but it was unsuccessful. They made you feel like you were a victim because they believed their games would shake your foundation, yet your foundation was never shaken. At their level, you were not rooted in things that were on the surface. Rather, you were rooted in, whilst others were competing for likes, you were being molded into something that will last forever. The fact that you were standing still while they were flaunting their abilities is an example of stillness, a power that is presence, that is divine timing, and that is combination of unmovable strength, that is the kind of trust that keeps them awake at night. You are not unbeatable. You feel the heat. You have suffered anguish and bled behind closed doors. Yet the reason you continue to triumph over it is because your soul possesses memory. It is able to recall the lessons that the storm imparted to you. Recollects every instance in which you were unsure about your ability to succeed, yet proceeded to do so anyhow. That is where your faith resides, not in make-believe, but in evidence. So don't let them fool you. You should not allow them to tell you that you are too calm, too quiet, or too patient due to gaslighting. You do not exist in a state of passivity. You are powerful. You do not wait for life. You are in harmony with something that is not lacking, which is the reason why you do not flinch when because of the turmoil that ensues, they are unable to touch you, despite the fact that they are getting closer. And if you ever forget that, just reflect on everything you've accomplished, everything you've rebuilt, and everything you've survived. Even though they had counted you out, you continued to move forward. That wasn't luck, that was you. You are selected because you choose to have faith rather than fear, and that choice is what makes you chosen. The fact that they believed your silence meant that you were giving up made you feel like a chosen one. It was a strategy. They mistook your lack of activity for a sign of weakness, but it was actually war, mentality, and now they are coming to the realization that they were never alone in the war. Keep that faith close to you and don't dilute it down. They were fighting someone who was supported by the universe itself. Putting it down, don't apologize for how consistent you are, and let them wake up wanting to get some rest. Try to figure out how you are still standing when they are being swept away by the storms that they hurled your way. Since you are the anchor at this point, they will never be able to move from what they have established. I couldn't even begin to comprehend the fifth point, which is that you weren't put somewhere to fit in. They are unable to erase the adjustment that you have made since you were designed to fail the system. You were not the spark that they anticipated, rather you were the wildfire that they anticipated. You are not simply passing through this existence. You are sculpting it. You are the one who is undergoing this transformation. Due to a flaw in the matrix, they were unable to successfully patch the spark that they believed would flicker, fading, but instead you set everything on fire that you don't play by the rules because you don't follow the rules. The rules were never intended to be followed by someone like you, and now they feel as though they have been played. Due to the fact that they made an effort to keep you quiet, little, and forgettable, and all they did was, you are the catalyst, the turning point, and you are the one who triggered your metamorphosis. Energy is the reason why nothing seems the same when you walk into a room anymore. Things break, shake, and reconstruct when you talk, when you move, and when you speak, when you open your mind. Because you don't simply talk about change, you actually are change. People are very impressed by you. They found it more comfortable when you questioned your own abilities, when you were uncomfortable. While you were in the background, playing by the rules meant that you had second thoughts about your power. in order to confine you, since the minute you become aware of who you are was the time you starting to move in a different manner, thinking more expansively and walking with more confidence, which is when the entire system began to shake. And now it is not because you fought them that they are scurrying, rather it is because of your evolution. Revealed their limitations, you were never intended to be a part of the group. You were rather born to task to face in order to destroy everything that is fake. You are weak and you are stagnant. Had been born to break generational curses without ever making the announcement to transform the paradigm. Bloodlines, simply by differentiating their walking style in order to cause people to evaluate their own life merely by observing how you live your life in reality. You are the kind of presence that does not. By requesting permission, you can elicit responses from individuals and demonstrate to them what is feasible. Alone is risky for people who have put themselves in mediocrity for which they were not prepared. Someone who would not cooperate, someone who would not smile, nod, and remain in the same place. But in order to make everyone else feel secure, you broke the safety that was chosen for you. Because they believed they could exert influence over you, they now feel as though they have been played, influencing others through the management of your image. But here's the thing, your energy does not require an introduction because it speaks for itself. You are going to remain the same. You are affecting lives just by being shamelessly aligned with what you preach. You are changing lives. Your actions not only motivate you, but they also have the ability to disrupt your mental state. It reprograms you to challenge people simply by existing, since you are live proof of something. The fact that survival is not the final transformation is something that they would never openly concede. You have already generated a ripple effect that they are unable to stop, since you have stirred things up. Thoughts that were rocked by systems planted seeds in individuals who had before sworn they were barren. About your field of view, and you did not have to shout, you did not have to beg, you simply had to be genuine. And that authenticity, that raw, unfiltered alignment, it's uncommon and it's important. This is because it is radioactive and spreads, which is why they react so strongly to you and why they want to hide it. Due to the fact that your very presence poses a challenge to the current quo, attempt to discredit or suppress you. And you are the truth that they did not invite to their meal of lies, the earthquake that is beneath their feet, the storm in their perfectly controlled sky you bring to the delicate structures you carry with you. Even if you provide light and shift, you still have doubts about it sometimes. Exposure is what you bring. If you are doing too much, moving too quickly, shaking too many times, you should question yourself if so. I want to make it perfectly clear that you are doing exactly what you were meant to accomplish from the beginning. The transition, you are the point in people's timelines that comes before and after something else. You are because of the fact that things do not return to the way they were, your transition was not successful. Not only for you, but also for everyone who was watching you, hating on you, and learning from you all. You in silence, the universe did not simply choose you to survive, it chose you to live. Initiate something that cannot be undone. You are the domino that landed directly on the entire line. You are the one who breaks patterns, the one who awakens the soul, and the one who is the silent revolution that they sense, because they believe that you were just another participant in the game. They elected to play chosen one. System, they were under the impression that you simply came to redo the entire game, but they were wrong. You used to be simply background noise, but now they are compelled to replay every single moment. They made an effort to prevent you from moving forward, despite the fact that you were the turning point in everything. So don't be afraid to be yourself, and don't water down your presence in order to make people feel happy. It was never intended for you to be digestible. Rather, you were designed to cause disruption and demolish. In the midst of a sea of fakes, to remind the world what genuineness looks like, your influence will survive their judgments, and your energy will reverberate through the masks themselves. You are not a moment, you are the movement. They swore that you did not belong in the places around you. Moreover, not only have they witnessed it, but they have also experienced it. They are aware of it and they are afraid of it because after the activation of the selected one, nothing remains the same. Same number 6, they were afraid of your darkness, not realizing that it was what made you who you are. They attempted to humiliate your shadow, but they were unsuccessful. Being aware of the fact that this is the place where you made your crown, you were never just light. You were formed in locations that the majority of people are scared to even look at while they worked on polishing masks and pursuing perfection. You came face to face with every shattered piece and every fault as you marched directly into your mess. Each and every dreadful reality, and rather than fleeing, you chose to remain. You did not flee the darkness. It is because you made peace with it that they feel they have been played. They assumed you would hide it, your anger, your grief, your hunger, and your wounds. But instead, you are the one who is suffering. You accepted it. You brought your suffering into the light. You faced it down, and you assumed ownership of it. They are oblivious to the fact that they are afraid of their own shadows, which you have made your own. Weapons see what they fail to see is that the ones who have been chosen are more than just loved. We are formed of fire, darkness, scars, and steel, in addition to the parts that you were told we are made of. In order to stifle your rage, your ambition, and your rawness, know that these are not your shortcomings. They are your cutting edge, and you hone that cutting edge in solitude, in silence, and through suffering when you utilize the weapon that was designed to cause you harm and handled it like a sword in order to cause you harm. It is important to be gentle, palatable, and lovely in order to make them feel secure, yet you are not present. You are here to help them feel the truth, and the truth isn't always the truth. This is to make them feel safe. It is always lovely, yet there are moments when it is jagged, times when it is loud, and times when it burns, and that is precisely what your shadow does. It completely destroys the lies that they attempted to tell. Wrap around you. You did not try to escape your past. You converted it into fuel. You did not try to escape your past. You have mastered its language, and you have stopped hiding from your darkness. Please numb the pain and invite it in. Allow it to instruct you. Let it to shape you. This is the significance of your existence. Feel different now, which is why they recoil in fear whenever you tell the truth with a fiery tone in your voice, because they are aware that you have earned it, that you are no longer faking, that you are not denying any aspect of who you are, and that you are as well as completeness, which is a power that the majority of people will never experience because it means you have confronted the darkest aspects of yourself and you cannot be deceived. What are they able to use against you at this point? In front of someone who has already been through hell, what kind of horror can they possibly dangle? And returned with a fire in their eyes, they felt as though they have been played because they attempted to, despite the fact that they used your shadow against you, All they did was push you to incorporate it, to putting an end to hiding in order to become real. And realness is a revolution in a world that is full of, therefore, don't make it seem less than it is. Don't apologize for the depth, the darkness, or the duality. On the inside of you, you did not merely endure your shadow, rather you made yourself sovereign inside it. As a result, no one is able to touch you at this time, since they believed that your shadow would destroy you. Constructed your throne number 7, they believed you had fallen off of it. You had just finished loading, but now you're back, and they can't come back. In the process of stalking, a lion does not make a roaring sound, rather it moves silently and then stops. Everything with just one bite, you were silent, and everybody rejoiced at your success. Believed that you had finished, believed that the quiet indicated that you had lost, but that was there. Your first error was that you confused a pause with a loss. You weren't retreating, you were holding back. Computed, and now that you're back, they feel as though they've been taken advantage of because the version of the person who vanished is not the same person who emerged out of nowhere. Strategic disengagement is the term. That is not giving up. It is playing chess. It is what true warriors do when they are in a position of strength. There is no reason for you to take a step back because they are planning something that is too great to be rushed. Loss, but because you were packing something that was so sharp and so hefty, you ended up losing it. That it would have been a waste to rush it. And those who laughed while you were in the process of doing it, they are no longer able to even look you in the eye. You do not chase noise, and you do not chase noise. If you want to be seen fighting, you should let the clowns perform while you plan your strike in the arena. Quiet. They expose themselves, they talk too much, and they move too loudly. They were too noisy. You were researching, training, and rebuilding during this time, and you took advantage of the quiet season you must now return with the strength you have gathered mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It is not every war that is yours to win. What they don't comprehend is the importance of accuracy over fear. You are not here to react, you are here to dominate, and dominance is what gives you the upper hand. Patience is the key to real power, which is not in continual action, but rather in the ability to wait, to take a step back when your ego expresses the need to clap back in order to remain silent when your spirit, not yet, that's the strategy that's being offered. It is your mastery that causes people to be terrified of you, and they have already told everyone that you are. Completed, they boasted about how they had abandoned you and assumed that you were on your way out. While they were loud and messy, you were able to maintain your silence, which was a death sentence. Preparing your return as if it were a weapon, and now a single action from you can change the entire situation. Landscape, due to the fact that when the chosen one come back, nothing remains the same. As you can see, being continually visible is not the source of your strength. Rather, it is the ability to be unforgettable. Despite their efforts to move on, your energy continued to linger, and your name continued to be mentioned. That calm storm you were building up is now a full-blown storm, and their mouth is the source of it. It is not necessary for you to make an announcement about your return, because you are Therefore, you should never allow them to deceive you into believing that taking a step back is a sign of failure. You don't have to be everywhere, you only need to be in the right place. It's spiritual discipline. It's warfare. They feel that they have been selected, and they only need to strike once for the impact to last forever, mostly due to the fact that they believed they had buried you, yet the whole time you were only setting the stage. They threw you into the flames, but you didn't burn. Instead, you became a victim of trap number 8. Despite the fact that they wanted you to break it, you learnt how to bend the global system. Instead, there is something that they will never comprehend. You are not merely surviving out of existence. In this place, you are not responding to life. Rather, you are alchemizing it, that you are reshaping. They caused you suffering, but you gave it a purpose. They betrayed you, but you chose to focus on it. Provided you with uncertainty, but you were able to transform it into motivation each and every time. Every single fall, every single scar, you exploited it, you flipped the script, and you didn't succeed this time. In the meantime, you are the inner alchemist, and you should just bounce back because you came back different. We're seeking for ways to save time and applause. You were grinding away in the laboratory in complete stillness, transforming your wounds into wisdom. The heat that they believed would cause you to melt only made you stronger. This disappointment, the doors that were closed, and the pain that you experienced were all taken by you. Gold was purified from it, and now they can't stop staring at it. They feel like they've been played because of you. You have never been the victim. You were the vessel through which they poured everything they had at you. You transformed it into fuel, which is your chosen superpower. You don't just disappear into thin air. You don't just sit around and wallow in the ashes. You construct empires through the things that you developed through. It was from them that you took the life that they promised would be your destruction and turned it into art. Do not simply put up with the turmoil that you convert. Bringing it into the spotlight, they referred to it as failure, referred to it as feedback. They predicted a conclusion. You anticipated a new formula since the truth. Every setback was actually a stepping stone to a triumph, and you never squandered a single opportunity. Single flame. The majority of people avoid the fire, but you studied it with the intention of learning from it. You are not here to be understood by everyone. Alchemy is not something that needs to be understood. While they were active, it was loud, and it occurred deep within the sacred, silent, and focused. As they made fun of your losses, they failed to notice the change that was going place behind the scenes. Now that you've emerged behind the curtain, you're shining brightly. A feeling of being played because of the untouchable power they possess. Don't let their bewilderment get the best of them. The one they thought was finished is now too advanced to even recognize. They are unable to comprehend it because they were never designed for transformation. Rather, they were designed for, in spite of the fact that you were designed for transcendence, you choose to take the raw and the genuine. You take something that is unpleasant and transform it into something that is powerful. This is what makes you. They attempted to confine you with the idea that you are unstoppable, which is what makes you dangerous. Your history, but you had the ability to transform your history into a platform that they attempted to use. Your errors as chains, you melted the chains down and made a crown that is yours through your faults. The reason they chat, the reason they watch, and the reason they are unable to compete because there is no, regardless of what they throw at you, you should persevere in translating the pain into power loss. Alchemy is the transformation of suffering into power, and you are the owner of it. Thus continue to create, using every setback as an opportunity to learn and grow. Continue to transform chaos into strategy. Firewood, you are not here to behave in the same manner. Rather, you are here to develop further with every blow you take, and ever since they've seen what you've constructed out of the rubble, they are now feeling like they have been played number 9, and you are not simply a player. As you play the game, you are redrawing the map, and they are unable to do so. They constructed walls to enclose you, but they were unaware that you were the architect of the structure. You have been able to weather every storm that they have sent your way. You have moved in silence and you have risen. You were able to time your attacks like a ghost with perfect aim, and you did not even come from your ashes. By building a break, you transform suffering into power, loss into lessons, and failure into opportunities. Fuel, you have endured adversity, including betrayal, loneliness, and burnout, and you have emerged victorious. Sharper than steel, you are now standing where very few people ever reach, and you are not doing so as a survival, but as the architect of fate. They believed that this world would smash you when you were alive. You believed that the system would consume you in its whole. They bet on your silence, but what happened? What they failed to notice is that you have been designing this in every fall since the very beginning. All of your failures and setbacks, you transformed them into blueprint material while they were still working. Frantically attempting to get control, you were building your kingdom one brick at a time, but you are not. If you are no longer simply responding, you are not waiting for permission. Rather, you are constructing reality. If they want you to play little, they want you to follow their rules and stay within the boundaries of the game. Lines, but you were never meant to be a line drawer. You were designed to push the limits of what is possible. They feel like they have been played now because the one they sought to eliminate just happened to be playing. Change the entire script. You are no longer in the mode of survival. You are now in the mode of creativity. There is nothing more terrifying about you than the fact that you are no longer looking for validation. They never improve the system. You are the validation, you are the design, and you are the system upgrade. Saw coming life will continue to test you. There is no doubt about that, but you are not a typical person. It is because of your unique construction that you bear the wounds and the codes that you have earned. You are the signal flare, and with vision comes responsibility. Vision is a responsibility. The blueprint in a world that is full of fog, the one who has been chosen in a world that is full of confusion, no longer merely passes through doors, but also constructs them, particularly for those who are still observing. They will continue to watch at you from the shadows, still having doubts and still hoping to see you slip. Allow them to utter an utterance, and allow them to wish for your downfall. For even if you did fall, again, you simply use the debris to construct a new structure. This is what an architect does, and that is what you do. So go into your realm of influence. Not halfway, not hesitantly, but totally aggressively, loudly, even if you're not sure what you're doing. Silence, because you are no longer merely a participant in the narrative. You are now the one who is holding they are aware of it, they can feel it, and now they are coming to the realization that they were. In the beginning, you were the author, and you were never the primary characters. You've witnessed everything, from the silence to the ascent to the fall, and now we've come full circle. If you fire the metamorphosis, you are no longer simply surviving the game. You are actually thriving. If you choose to redefine it, the power is now in your hands, and they are aware of it, so don't let it slip away. Take it easy and don't turn it down. This is your chance to take ownership of everything they tried to. If this message resonated with you on a deep level, please like this video, subscribe to it, and post a comment. Leave the number 77 in the comments section to assert your authority. Please share this with another person who has been selected and who requires a reminder that we are not finished. Starting out with the basics,